James Gunn has a secret plan. A lot of fans just don't want to see it. We're still mourning the loss of our boy Henry Cavill, Superman, and we don't think that any other interpretation of the character is going to be as good or as wanted, which is an absolute flawed opinion in my eyes. I'm going to make the case right now that James Gunn not only has a plan for Superman and the franchise as a whole, but that the current Superman that we've seen pictures of, that people hate on all the time now, is needed, necessary, and a very good thing. Let me extend the olive branch right now to all the Henry Cavill Superman worshippers, alright? I love Henry Cavill. I love Henry Cavill Superman. I liked Man of Steel. I liked what they were doing with Henry Cavill Superman in Man of Steel. I don't like him in BVS. I half like him in the Snyder cut of Justice League. I think they wasted the potential of that character and that actor, and I think Henry Cavill in general has just been wasted in his career. He got screwed on The Witcher. He got shafted in Argyle. He was just used as a promotional piece for that film, and his character was an illusion the whole time, and then The Witcher is just going out of their way to ruin his character. I hope Warhammer works out for him. I would have loved to seen him in many iconic roles, but unfortunately he's out of the prime of his career now. He's getting a lot older, and you know what? I would have loved to see him again after the tease at the end of Black Adam. Unfortunately, that movie was dog shit, and it helped put the final nail in the coffin of the DCEU. When James Gunn released this picture of David Sweat, whatever his name is, no offense to him, as Superman, he thought he was going to break the internet. He thought, yo, this is badass. I'm just going to drop this and people are going to love it. People hated it. People were like, what the F is this? This is Superman? This is the most underwhelming Superman look suit picture I've ever seen. Now, when I saw it, I didn't really see what anyone else saw. I thought it was okay. Yeah, it doesn't look maybe as crazy or aesthetically pleasing as Cavill's suit. I don't think it's supposed to, and I'm going to get into that later, but I thought people were unnecessarily hating because, fans just can't be happy with anything. Anything that is remotely available for people to dislike, people will dislike it. There will be contingent of people who will just never be happy, and that's just the case with humanity. We're a flawed, dumb species. Oh, I'm gonna make a case right now for why this suit is good. So let's get right into it, all right? People thought, okay, the suit doesn't fit him too well. It looks bloated. Why does he have red underpants? I thought we're doing away with the red underpants. It looks cheesy. It just looks like a clown costume. It looks like a cosplay. The whole point of the red underpants. One, this shows me that James Gunn is really getting back to the classic Superman, alright? This suit is probably made by Clark's mother in the story or by one of his teammates by the team. It's not this Kryptonian, perfectly fit, alien-designed next-level suit like was the case in Man of Steel when Henry Cavill got a suit. That was just perfectly made for him. No, this is made by people who didn't maybe get all the measurements correctly and were just trying to pay homage to an ideal. That it's supposed to be a flawed looking suit. It's not supposed to be perfect like Henry Cavill's suit. And the red underpants show me that they're going to do something very particular with the story. Clark Kent's Superman is not going to be taken seriously by the characters around him. That's going to be part of the plot. Henry Cavill's suit is perfect. Like, it's aesthetically perfect. Like, look at it. It's a sexy suit. No homo, but let's just be honest about it, right? And you have the other suit, which looks a bit bloated. It looks a bit fake, Imperfect is good, guys. We're dealing with a young, inexperienced Superman who had a suit made for him by a human being. It's supposed to be flawed. That's the point. It's not like, oh, he has a Kryptonian ship where the suit's readily available to him. It's not the same story. In fact, I think James Gunn is actually going to do that part of the story better. This is Superman rising to the character we know and love. Alright, we're gonna get to the team, because a lot of people are like, oh man, Green Lantern looks like shit. Why is there a team? Why are they trying to make a Justice League movie out of a Superman film? Why is James Gunn obsessed with team movies? Can't he just make a different kind of movie about a singular hero? Why is this Guardians of the Galaxy but DC all over again? Superman's about to be ruined. Guys, there's a point behind this team, alright? And I actually love the casting. The casting here is great. It's amazing. I love the fact that Isabel Merced is a Hawkgirl because I just want to see Isabel Merced on the big screen as many times as I possibly can, okay? It's all right. They're doing something very different than Snyder. Snyder was like, all right, we're going to build up to the Justice League. We're going to have Superman, and then we're going to see all these other heroes popping up, and then Superman's going to find his way to the Justice League, and the Justice League is going to unite. No. In this, We're going to have all these heroes already there, and Superman's going to be the young, new kid on the block, the young buck, the most inexperienced part of the team. When I first saw this, when I first saw the casting and everything, I thought that Superman was going to be the leader and his leadership was going to be tested. No, he's going to be the inexperienced guy, and the entire team is going to get their ass whooped, and he's going to have to rise up into the leadership role. Will not be the mature, wise Superman that he's not going to be that. This is not going to be an origin story, but this is going to be a character arc into the Superman that we know and love. All right, and you must be asking, Zaffy, are you making this up? Like, this is just your opinion, right? The reason why I strongly believe this is the case is James Gunn insisted that he needed a young Superman. He insisted on it. He insisted on the new story, different to what was being done with Henry Cavill. And people hated it. People hated, like, why? Just use Henry Cavill again, man. If you're going to reboot it, just keep Henry Cavill. And he's like, no, I need a young Superman because the story is going to be different. They're starting off with a team, and the team is needed as a supporting cast to help prop Superman up. Imagine if Superman was a side character to these characters, which is what a lot of people fear it is. No, that's not going to be the case, guys. Truly believe, guys, that Superman will be laughed at. I mentioned it in the beginning. He's going to be roasted by people on his team and humans and the public in general. Who is this freak with red underpants and a cape flying around? Like, who is this wacko weirdo? Are we supposed to take this guy seriously? He's going to be clowned on until he rises and has this moment at the end of the film when everyone else is getting their ass whooped and he is the only one powerful enough to stop it, right? He has the only one powerful enough to stop it and the only one who can bear the burden of the responsibility. And then he's going to get everyone's respect. And then he's going to strike fear into the heart of Lex Luthor, like, oh shit, he's that guy. This is the guy I got to stop. And Lex will be the only one who probably takes him seriously, because the importance of Lex here is we've seen Lex so many times, right? And Lex will probably be teaming up with another villain maybe, but we need to test Superman's psyche in a way that just hasn't been tested before. I don't want kryptonite to be overused like it is in everything else. Like Smallville, it was overused like crazy. They started using it in the BVS. Like, look, there are other weaknesses that Superman has. And I'm not just talking about magic. I'm talking about this guy's psyche. If you can break this man's will, there's potentially a lot at stake for the world, right? This dude is probably prone to depression. Look at the amount of stress this guy has to go through. You can easily break his psyche if you're someone like Lex, who is trying to publicly character assassinate Superman at all costs. And especially the young and experienced Superman in this film, who is probably going to have a lot of insecurities and confidence issues, which is going to stop him from trying to take the leadership role until he has to. That's the point of the arc. We do have a villain problem because a lot of the villains we've already seen. Okay? And we need to stop relying on physical villains. Oh, we need to see Superman in a fight across the city, Dragon Ball Z style, bro. That's the only... we need to have a badass Superman fight. Listen, we can have that, but your villains need to strike Superman in more ways than just physical. Let's go through the villains that you have now that the DCU has run you out of options almost, right? You have guys like Bizarro who haven't been used in live action film yet, to my knowledge. It was used in some animated films in Smallville. Now, the reason I wouldn't want someone like Bizarro, even though he's a polar opposite of Clark, is that it would just turn into this cheesy, oh, Bizarro is a Frankenstein monster who wants love and he's lonely, so he's going to try to bang Lois Lane, and it's going to be this corny thing. I don't want them to do that. I don't think he's that kind of villain. They could do Imperiex. A lot of you know Imperiex. Problem with Imperiex is he's like a universal threat. He's like what Thanos would have been for the MCU, but like he would take a Justice League to fight, right? I mean, Lex Luthor and all the heroes of the world teamed up to fight him, and Superman had to like do some self-sacrifice. This would be like a Death of Superman type plotline. All right. You have Mongol, who it looks a lot like Darkseid. He could literally be your placeholder for Darkseid. Now that Darkseid was already used in Zack Snyder's films, and maybe they want to stay away from that character for now. He kind of has a lot of similarities to Darkseid as a character, but again, this is all physical so far, right? And Doomsday, we've seen him thousands of times now. Smallville, the Clark, Superman and Lois show, the BVS, like we've seen the Death of Superman done. Like we need to get beyond this now, all right? This should be done for a story way in the future, not Zack Snyder making it the second appearance of Superman. It's stupid. We need to go to the mind, and I do think that James Gunn is setting the stage for this, all right? It's going to be Braniac. If you're looking through the lens of James Gunn, you have no other options. Like General Zod, Doomsday, Lex, all these people are already done, right? I'm going to see someone fuck with Superman's mind, all right? I don't want to see a villain that's, oh, this universal threat that all these heroes need to team up to, and Superman's going to have like a laser blast with him. No. Braniac can occupy both worlds, the mental and physical. He literally, in a comic called Superman Braniac, in a story called Superman Braniac, he preoccupies Superman by attacking Metropolis and shooting a missile into the damn sun, and then goes and kills Jonathan Kent because Superman's too preoccupied to save his own father. He fucks with this man. He's like, it's like a Joker thing, to be honest. Brainiac can be that for Superman. He can literally test Superman's limits, and Brainiac's a machine. If you want to see Superman wreck some shit, Brainiac's the perfect villain to do it against. And I do believe James Gunn, incrementally through the arc he's planning with Clark Kent, he's setting the stage for a villain like Brainiac to come into the fold. And if James Gunn wants to bring guys like Lex Luthor and Zod, who we've seen 1,000 times, and he wants to bring them in because, oh, Zod, he's such a good threat, right? He represents the threat of Kryptonians' bad intentions coming to Earth, and how that could have a problem with Clark, right? And Lex Luthor as well. Brainiac has connections to both these characters in the comics. Brainiac is literally a supercomputer that Zod alliances with and uses, and Lex Luthor uses Brainiac all the time, and Brainiac uses Lex Luthor all the time in the comics. Brainiac is a perfect villain because he can navigate all these worlds. He is mind over body, but he can battle with Superman physically, and he can fuck with Superman mentally. And that's the kind of villain we need. And remember, the one thing about Superman that makes him so interesting, this is a character of hope, right? Now, he's a godlike being, but what brings him down to a human level is the suffering he's capable of. The fundamental aspect of the human condition is suffering, the amount of pain we go into, the amount of depression that we can go into and then overcome, right? Imagine Superman on the precipice of that, right? People are testing how much suffering he can take because only someone like him can take that much. And I'm not saying he has to be depressed and emo and gothic in a film like BVS. Oh, no one stays good in this world. I'm not saying he needs to be like that, because remember, BVS was, let's make Clark as pathetic, dark, gloomy, and depressed as possible, and then we'll save his arc in the next movie. No. You can have a complete arc of him falling, of his hope going down, and then getting back up in one film. And I believe that they can do that with a villain like Braniac and Lex Luthor, who fuck with the mind. A physical threat is nowhere near as painful for Superman as a mental threat is, okay? This guy is a character of hope. And I think James Gunn understands it. And I believe James Gunn has picked the costume that matches that theme the best. Alright? I truly believe that. And I believe his team, the team environment that he's put in here, the team dynamic, will add to not a dark, gritty film, because we have enough of that shit already that people love so much, but a film that embraces the light, okay? We need a more lighthearted superhero film, and I don't believe you should make Superman this dark, gloomy, long Halloween type shit. I think James Gunn understands that. Now, we need to understand, we need to get to this man, all right? We need to get to Zack Snyder, because I know all the cultists of Zack Snyder are going to jump on me saying, no, Snyder should have been the one to take care of Superman. I'm going to be honest, all right? This quote, maybe, but we could have seen Batman getting R'd in prison. Now, I understand this context, right? Zack Snyder wasn't saying he was actually going to do this, but he was talking about, oh, this is how dark we could go. That tells me something about his mindset. He is not focused on establishing the very best of these characters as represented in the comics. He has his own desires to see them as badass and brooding and edgy as possible. I truly believe this is a thing that Zack Snyder's obsessed with, okay? He wants to make Superman cool, like he made Aquaman cool, alright? And that worked for Aquaman, because Jason Momoa's character, Arthur Curry, could embody both those things, but it doesn't work for Superman. Superman's meant to be that saint-like patriotic figure, like, you know, like a Captain America, but even more powerful, you know? And I'm going to be honest, I love Jason Momoa's Aquaman, but we bottled the casting of Lobo. Lobo would have been such a sick villain. I just wanted to put that out there. Making Superman this dark, brooding, edgy badass is trying to make him more like Batman. It takes away from the point of his damn character. All right, he's not meant to be like Batman, and I don't believe this is one thing. Zack Snyder fundamentally misunderstands the character, or he understands Batman and Superman very well. He just doesn't give a fuck about those characters and how they represent the comics. He wants to do his own thing with them. Fine. It's insulting to the fans. I know for a fact Zack Snyder is obsessed with the idea of having a killer Superman. He loves the idea of building up to that alternate world where Superman loses Lois and becomes a killer, like the Injustice plotline that he's been teasing in his BVS and Snyder Cut. Look, that's a cool one-time story. Zack Snyder wants this entire thing to be built up to that. He really badly wants to see Superman a killer. And you can see it, even in the scenes where Superman's normal, Zack Snyder still wants to make him this badass, edgy dude. Alright? I still disagree with him killing Zod. I know people are going to say, oh, but he needed to do it in that moment. It made sense for his character in Man of Steel. I don't care. When we're going into the territory of Superman killing someone in his first film, we're setting a really bad precedent for the character. All right? This is a dude whose no-kill rule is very different from Batman's. All right? With Batman, you can understand that at some point he's going to come across the Joker and probably have to kill him, right? That's something you can see happening. You know, it's implied in the Killing Joke. I mean, it's left up to interpretation what happens at the end of that story, but you can that would make sense if Superman did it. It's a fundamental defect on the character, and it would only make sense for a one-time story like Injustice, where the stakes are, okay, Superman's a villain now and the world's in trouble. This is not a story that has longevity. With Batman, if he killed someone, you can see a story with him, you can see stories with him keep going, right? With Superman, that's the end. If a guy like Superman embraces killing once, it's over. It's over for humanity. Whereas with Batman, you can afford a character like that to... Maybe there's some redemption path for them. With Superman, it's way too dangerous to be doing that, and it misses the mark with his character completely. All right, now when Zack Snyder was at his prime, all right, the peak Zack Snyder stuff is this: Watchmen, 300. Those two movies are great. Why? Because they're straight up adaptations of the source material. Zack Snyder didn't even try to implement his own writing or storytelling into them. Ever since then, all the movies that he's tried to implement his own mediocre bullshit into have been they've either bombed with fans and critics, or they have just been mediocre pieces of garbage that his cultist fans will defend no matter what. All right, the only exception is the Snyder Cut. All right, he had all the time. He was given the time. He had a 4-hour cut of the film. Good, you made a decent film. I liked it. It's still a flawed movie. Don't get me wrong. It's still a very flawed movie, but it was decent. It was a good movie. I liked it. Besides that, whenever he tries to inject his own writing, it goes to shit. He is a visionary visual director, and he should be adapting source material straight without trying to implement his own crap into it. Look at this shit, man. This is what happens, bro. Rebel Moon was trash. Rebel Moon 2 was trash. And then he's scamming his fans by saying, oh, but there's an extended cut for all of my films that you can watch a couple months from now. Just pay for this subscription or see it in theaters. And he's literally hijacking the minds of his fans. This is shit. I like Snyder's Justice League, and the thing I like most about Snyder's Justice League is how powerful it made Superman. Finally someone got the power level of Superman right without having to expose him to kryptonite and having to make him weak for the story. No, he was awesome. His character didn't have a lot of substance in that film because, I'm gonna be honest, his arc is very superficial. It could have been delved into more in those 3 films, but for what it was, I liked it. Okay, I'm not gonna be mad at it. But we need to respect the past and embrace the future now. Okay, I trust James Gunn. I know there's controversies with James Gunn as a director. I know people are like, oh, he's made the Guardians movie. He's going to make it a comedy. He doesn't know what he's doing. I trust him. After the work he did with Suicide Squad 2021, I'm going to be honest, I trust his knowledge and understanding of the characters more than someone like Snyder, at least. Okay? Now, this video could age completely horribly, and this movie could suck balls. And if it does, I'm really sorry. I'm trying to have faith. I'm trying to be positive, okay? Please don't suck. James Gunn, if you're listening to this somehow, please someone send this to him. I have faith in you. Please don't do this bullshit where fans are giving you bad reception. You're like, okay, we got to change things now before the movie comes out. I remember he tweeted something, oh, we're going to make changes to the suit based on the bad feedback from the fans. Don't fall into this bullshit, all right? Continue with the vision you had. We trust in you. Well, I do, and I hope a lot of you do too, all right? Let's pray this movie doesn't suck. We need a good DC movie now. We need a good Superman movie. Like and subscribe.